Ito hindi naman trend like conrol okay may daw probably failure is like ultimate master plan and coordinator is like master strategy to like stop entering down like language and just like shape question and again quit like the whole and it's against that language thing. It might be like that to from like observing family observing language of might be like that to the brain of the brain. So the claim of like the master strategy of like control of like I think work to be like strategy of like the combination of like the square and colors. It might be contrived like the get master strategy. Might be like the long pyramid. So the creative pyramid in that connect that against that language team the bring in sleep according to like contrived before entering like battle like shedding is that team of to like eventually after like the organization will be against like language team for the point for them to like create an actual moment of like absolute destruction for like the entirety of that state. Create an absolute destruction with the around the line destruction from with the electric maintain the when that against like things like in the scenario that so like until that point like I'm just left and almost like from like the point like the that or like the something like speed will be in itself like and like so they remember those about the scenario what like that our constantly using like figures like really good like that also mainly that's fine to that make it towards that also that to use that now to that shape of personality and the data development with the along the lines of like in an all content man of like language so which are towards that but like at that point the competition like most likely conclusion not going at all patiently waiting for like language to that for ticket and place the human mentioned that like language space to shape might be having a range in different like it might be only executable only within a distance of like in different ways might be like actual the level so like just as like damage level like security the limit needs to in that range of the statement at that point I want to like in order to use vehicle such as station as or like such that and basically that way teleporting away to uh another location that's like outside of like the range of that language like shares of this like considerate language from that and on multiple stage for like and like another doing that repeating like the same strategy over and over again like language to be able to extremely frustrating. It's like say at like in the like scenario and also the point to take at that point that it's a thinking about the platform like scale that with the time their distractions by the which lab language and to thinking about the lab language maybe one point one that things are going to be getting distracted. It would be point for the distraction that like to do even the professional guys will be creating and at that moment it's lesson that would be taking advantage of that might be like quickly use the situation and teleport exactly towards like right next to like the crystal of like land and like the replacing here that crystal and that way that runs like the crystal of better girl being replaced like right next to the crystal of like and from that point on, the thing that the plan is something to think if you want to change in upper left and it's like things to now that so that's involved usually that way that teleport the black space in my black the instead of black basically teleporting higher to the sky and basically from there like Chandra would be ensuring that it's inside the situation of black land like language can get things free within like the still that's like placed on the side of like on the ground on the side of landscape will get the land like Central will be ensure the problem. Central will be if you think it's like ultimate strategy of like that are the master prepared or like anything Central like teleporting making that final teleportation to like an IF like the guy and the so different like even to the person like might be not having any sort of like magical spell power spell powers to like deploy like still might be that the exploitative than like like learn production while that teleporting high up in the sky and like control at that point like dropping that and letting go of that still from high up in the sky with like it's then also going to so like at that point like that sorry like probably falling towards like the ground and at that point still from the like control using its like strategy putting language into like a kind of like state just like still falling towards the ground and language at that point language and all of that language became the like they were falling for like manipulation and recurring and language and all the and being a state we are assuming that that potential mineral that protein is that the potential of like and that way that land so rather than doing that in such a situation where like land will be exposed close enough to get things arranged towards like the physical that might you on the ground on the side of land. So like at that point like land before like land will be at that point that's greatly charged with like that is like bigger towards like the physical on the side like land thing thing that basically that like contrast that to physical and basically land before like the physical contrast of that makes it to the ground like only making it in range and basically using it like shape trace magic on like the physical that is on like the side of that land on the ground and that land is safe. And that way that land without realizing that getting tricked by Sangana and that land using it like space magic that destroy that the physical of land is going to and that way that central is outsmarting dynamics and like switching the electric. So it's like the scenario that you can wonder. So it's where we label the theory emphasizing right now the maybe it's like the box of black symbol black and not the being black a woman from like the black right they might have been affected by symbol like and black hand in one like a different like little flower might have taken over might have been what might have happened the fake about the plan of the so that according to my point of view, neither like about the black symbol have never seen or like or it's like active or it's like about the data and the bring in. So that the math everything of the cutting that was the what with the vendor existing that exceptional potential of lacks the effective man of that self like right and they did that in that government like state even to that and the minerals which something with thing something in like the and like at that point that printers like metal of that this type of they were like into the possibility for like simple items to go over again. So that the clean up trend right now that lyric and estimator ever since people have known the estimator not at all seen and outside and always might have been forced to like stay in those might be like still do up even though the person might feel like that you're going to get the label for him. So like labels when that central definitely that God acknowledge that lady can send it to and that has been contributing for the next that and lady can send it to central that way without the brand of just like that finding out that secretly taking ladies in outside like with the out of that same scenario and again lady can like at that point initially even though lady can would be having a certain state of that state of that system of mindset outside and something like central probably giving that basically that that it would definitely be fine. And that way, like I'm looking left and right, totally both in lady enough to like stay outdoors and spend time outdoors. Like this puts an out of that and again until eventually I'm looking that my control like parents like until eventually I'm from the putting most likely land was like finding out about this and that and telling about the school that land parents and at that point I'm looking that land standard but yeah parents like and different funny systems and at that point, this is when I'm looking that the talking push happening was like at that point, all of a sudden that lady commits like discomforts that or vanishing into the pairing at that point. At that point, it's like the into scenario that I'm looking at. That way, like I'm that control that way being proven right at that point. So lady commits is like the recovery selecting the scenario that I'm looking at. And since then, like lady commits being so extremely feeling indebted as well as that the bond of friendship between Latin American and the through is a more treated like that in the finance that and because for again different that at that point that land to be extremely jealous of that even more and more jealous of that because of legal because like from like land perspective might be so extremely frustrating for like land that language like someone whom land is who might be only thing that like has to be paid up as like similar like basically has to like why really kind of like it takes so much like towards like uh towards like similar the real of the range of like this like question that like basically land might not fit out here that focus of and that might be creating now saying within like and jealousy within like language to the point of like from that point on like seriously focusing on that person suffering to that Boston watching that leading to like a person might be that will get that one that happens, especially my particular instance right. So that way opposed to my particular instance, notifying that up of it like current or like the compatible between that and that can use the clear value totally probably how smart language and the making language look silly in front of like that reflects the power of that the organization. While Finral will be more probably automatic language and like adapting and like about the teaching like the three like a player during Finral team people very solely to do that some sort of like an ultimate brilliant master strategy of that Finral. If like language won't or reflecting on the won't get off to be seen something like change the scenario that yeah. At that point of like defeat when I'm trying like the scenario to be like language like perspective uh change at that point of defeat and like I'm so different possible only at that point that like around language probably maybe coming down to the realization of that white LadyFinnes shows that in right over that language was also like the good scenario that was going to bring. And I'm sort of looking that way after like language is defeat like I'm saying that probably bond between that language towards Sumra language, getting a stop and basically language from that point on that normal the go to that in that way. And starting to like treat the other person like from that way on is like giving it enough that I'm going to and that there according to my friend from one slash the news about like the defeat of land against like control would be reaching like land like and like that is like at that point I'm only putting and that was not much still to only see that the like they live and basically probably still going there or that defeat of like land is that against like control would be also up to that and even more and in a figure and international of ways like we also environment. It's like the listen out that which while somebody saying that Simba and then it's a part of some program things like when you recognize it, Simba that protected. Only at that point that still listen out that is going to bring an experience. Oh, yes, so that's what my experience right now is like that. And that time like Simba like chasing woman and afraid being afraid to like get the date to send out time might have been definitely due to that Simba like fixed mindset, fixed mindset, except that until that the reason for person like a different that lead might have been that that might have changed like because that pessimistic mindset that it might have really to that pessimistic mindset of like Simran. This might have existed, this might have resulted in that Simran totally strongly feeling that maybe that she is now that we'll now be able to that maybe lady fitness might be along the right segment the mindset Simran might have had. So like it might have been Simran's desperate attempt to like forget about black lady fitness team black Simran might be he might have been truly seen as like black takes out just like the love of life. So that it might have been a desperate attempt to like forget about lady fitness that black Simran says and basically being subscribed for like they I know that they might have been because subscribed until I forget about everything. So therefore like something is very interesting right now. That is that person like that so that might be that like land might be able to like execute such like create land even a bit faster than how fast like someone will be able to like do things like status like might be like that people to do it but they don't friendly. So the game is like interpreted with certain like different like executing let's say his magic until it actually understand like while not being able to like cancel to like the speed of like repetition of development and all just like in scenario where that they like the drug study for like something like injury the drug that not being able to perfectly cancel out diagnosis, let's say this magic using like this magic and at that point I can say like slowly a bit of like the intensity of let's say this magic that landing after taking starting to like like the test of like in stream and slowly like the like in concept still slowly starting to like develop parts and like getting closer and closer slowly as like the continuous collision between like the facial magic person and like language like say face magic with the colliding like in the scenario that I'm doing until I'm going to like initially finally I'm going to that as like I'm going to finally the situation ending up with land that is only requiring one more of that collection of even just a part of like language space a tiny part of that the language, the intensity of that language will save face magic alone, even requiring four lines. Instead of that Finral Spain to get us for such an extreme situation like trying that language will be about with the game it is that absolute everything into that ultimate fun. So magic was like the scenario at the end of the day, right? And at that point, I'm thinking that strategy with that crazy magic to cancel it out. But like I'm doing inside experience situation, I'm totally putting for like that's the thing in that that at that point I was thinking that at least for there to be exchange of like dialogues between like language and Finland, where like language will be once again realistically attempting to that physical Finland. And that will be also mentioning and saying something about that LadyFinnes, like the selecting scenarios that actually, and that number of different significantly like the trigger of that we're setting in that the group potential and how it's within that Finral towards a connection getting awakened. And at that point, I'm looking at Finral expressing magic getting enhanced and into that getting converted and upgraded into that extremely powerful attack rate that fatal magic was like chosen scenario that needs to bring in that finally the scenario like I'm for instance and learning that new move of that sentence that new facial magic attack based facial magic which at that point I'm discovering by plan that will be attempting at that point that will destroy that the crystal of that the mass to be sending the rush like that symbols that make would then make special magic kind of like a new move something different to be extremely intense and powerful that can totally sending language flying at that point of like in the scenario that I'm developing. And simultaneously at that exact point is a conversation in the case of like the theme of like Hammond as well as like Leopold like and differently due to like fragile like magic like and like and I'm looking for both Leopold as well as Hammond fairly trying to like stay awake. But like an insurance black with a great lamp for the like Amazon correlation falling state and falling the step to black that power of black spider match like the scenario that is again. At that point it would be all down to like Leopold alone. And then with the like Leopold up and struggling to like stay awake from that spider match. But like at that and like Leopold that probably would be almost about to fall into that deep sleep. But like at that very last second is when I was looking at most likely Leopold like remembering just the journey so far about like few videos like the situation and about like Mara Leona and really about the word of that word that like Mara Leona had told Leopold and basically about like Leopold like training this like Mara Leona had given to that Leopold the training at the mountain and everything and basically like Leopold that they come to that realization that we can fall into like false sleep and sometimes whether this yeah that thing that thinking of certain memories like lighting that up the fire of that passion and to achieve the trick within like the effort and the end of the brain that ignition resulting in like that fire joining within like Leopold like resulting in like Leopold like playing magic like totally that totally lightning up and basically like totally straight away landing on like cylinder point like the person of like similar of like landing and provided and second here is like feel the scenario and referring to like these two instances so thing which I'm not the scenario which I'm not getting happening simultaneously and that way like the screen that sees it like the victory just like the scenario that I'm saying right now and that's very important right now. And also maybe the capability of like according to my information that eventually Leopold like by struggling remembering early on of like mana skin training basically at that point that Leopold like basically like bring out its like mana skin powers and basically that seeing that as the game changer with unbroken at that point will be kind of like Leopold Cameron and different by then you'll have fallen sleep. So that's your point with the mother clinic that basically being able to that way that survive that the intense magic of that fragile and basically pushing forward towards like excellent from like it is also like kind of what the scenario that is the preamble for it. Okay, so that's the name of strength right now is that we call like language like during one magic the most likely to appear to be powered like attack based uh it's like magic jealous like my Finral and attempt to bring that at that point that's Finral probably initially getting intimidated and this being to bring that strength being far to index and to bring that as that strength of that far to spell of that language would be about to but for the scenario to be like that spell being so to maintenance that like it being about to take out like the Finral along with like so like now is there so like at that waiting on second is when I'm like Finral so we like finally don't but you just have Finral probably saying that basically in a pessimistic something and being in a pessimistic manner and basically saying that like this is it for like Finral. One like that with last again I'm like Finral once again thing of like abstract that is like for self with the sharpening in towards like Finral and like just like at that very last again Finral would be remembering his land once again remembering his like journeys of and his like suffered heavily would be once again remembering like the words of like LadyFinnes like the words of like that absolute breeze that entrust that like LadyFinnes plays onto that Finral like we then I'm looking at that very last second maybe Langris will maybe say something about like LadyFinnes so it might also figure that Finral into that basically this like intense like that is spells that awakening from within Finral is like killing the scenario that so like that way like according between like two intense that way spell of that Finral and Langris is like the scenario that I'm between this like I'm between like Finral spell like eventually like for like eventually like that ultimate good and strong happening for like land where like that land is not going right now we're doing like that executing is like most powerful best from the selected models like this another level and the most powerful current most powerful spell of that land foreign that not only get encountered by this new awakened spell of that in the selected scenario but like not only get encountered but like actual land so like when that new spell of like starting to like really powerful land spell and eventually like to destroying land strength. And at the same point, like even though the North won't be intending it, like and the Finral's next spell being so being way more powerful than his Finral, so me being unable to like stop it at the right time and basically even after destroying that land spell like the Finral spell like usually causing like injuries to like land like the scenario that I'm going to right and so that comes over the thing to uh, lands at that point would not be getting badly injured and like that and like choose the other thing Finral like the scenario that I'm Finral being so can be kind of like he would be probably doing that absolute skill at that point. So it's like the scenario that I'm doing. And Finral at that point of the picture in his mind that they will never use that ultimate new secondary spell that Finral account would have done at that point unless lack visibility lack. That's so extremely critical. You know, to be an authorized left and value taking that decision. And if we are referring that ultimate that this kind of like not only software language but lack of that's that and everyone in like the power with like scenario that the scenario that is called the victim of the right. It is so that for my friends right now also people can not just simple but that language aspect naturally might be at conference of like a woman from like that like white who might have been like the might have been affected by language and things like might have been like might have been one that happened so you know the language of that father might have get that information from her so that even to the person that we might be that way uh, we should in a like the beliefs that basically lands this when in actuality that not the land but like not the central but like land something that the actual concept might have been a comment on like that right might be like that the reason that you know and this might be the reason for like right now as totally feeling that familiar ominous white from like this like ultimate grimoire magic like might be definitely due to that it's like I'm bring like this ominous feeling like the last time the time I felt it might have been during like the in like the past static against like this might be like that little bit situation certainly might experience so that Aska getting that signal ominous white right now might be due to all this like might be that the actual reflected actual reflected is like a possible thing that I'm looking at and the three right now. So that definitely might bring up some right now. Yeah, that appointment to anything like the right woman might have after black syndrome might have has lack on the second of brain language exactly at the same time that that the woman who currently believes speaks lack language is not and also has the offering as well might have been ordered having the so like that woman might have lost offering without creating effort might have been blocked and having the new and definitely land something else like father might have lied the back and might have gone up that like land some and might have simply taken out that and that the head right one might have been also might have been put enough input like simply underground area of that the form of that then and to like so might have been like the actuality of like the extreme situation might have been like the case like a long declarable qualifying of the and about the select environment of that like everything of that of the that even back then might have been attracted to very and might have been especially in the signal like that father might have lied to that about that actual mama might have been like that taking place especially on so that even back then like I'm thinking while that that just mother might have been like the right woman that who might have been on that secret underground in some kind of state like the birth father might have probably liked him that day that she had lost like symbols like actually not so of that she had continuously along the lines of the different that the birth father might have liked to that symbol might have been that that what might have happened in that about especially the brain. Yes, so like Lehman Williamson right now said that serious might have definitely genuinely might have wanted to like know about like actually like why like I like some want to like bring down like the law in the like the searching and all that might be like that but they very different from the one version so this might have done so but when investigated into stop again might have actually might have had like substitution of about that in like the past the past moments by like the Lawrence and Robert again it is like that black right that basically it might have been by the Lawrence and Robert I think that's so so that during then like the woman from like that right like basically might have been affected and basically that they that it might have been the offspring that basically might be like the present day or no which may be that there might be like child right even might be just the person in like the and like the underground like the stepping like underground of like the balance of like the original building like the in like the anime of like black law might be I know the lines and both preparing like for 2 years might have really had like some feelings of it's a real match for him because definitely right now black with black with it's like they just in like the past and black again black this like the end of this might be the reason for like even into this that specific straight away saying that I had figured that on black something like dominance on getting dominance feeling that land that mana certainly might have been the reality so but but like might have been like two reasons so this is until this point which like at present like students might be getting as a lack of frustration might be inactivity might be might be and this might be thing that is really this might be like just of frequency this might be the actual one this might be the reason for lack points and one of alone that is having such exceptionally high burn after compared to others. So along the line like to just might have had this as a lack of substitution until this point this like this point like seeing like ominous mana leaders might have came down to a feeling of transformation. Would be around the lines when the set person might be figuring might be feeling this definitely might be the reaction right now. Yes, so like definitely might be the reaction right now. That make of city item to the aspect that I'm looking for okay right now. With the perfect run from like the dark spell of the spell of like language right now is like thing you know the which way. Yes, so that name and the right now, the play for like in that the stage three, that the oil like the lifting like land sustain to the uh, facing off against that atrophy reflected in the scenario that I end up bring in that land will bring the clash being between that has done and land selected in the scenario that when we select up to bring that land that when they bringing out this black ominous black magic it's like a magic spell is like in the scenario that I'm bringing in as that they think that well a part of them head on fight and set let's say scenario that I'm playing as that if we can land with like Janus is black from the part of spell is let's say in this scenario that it was not the in the frame so right now. And even then, a consumer number of different for that land only be not being able to take the law against that, decrease against that, and basically on the thing that on top of that, like I'm currently that thing of a school would have not even made it to like the level, the phase three would have after the injury was like the Royal Knight uh, team selection would be happening luckily by shooters. Like at that point, I'm really selecting like team number two would have lost at like phase two and even phase one as well. Uh, while land was unfortunately protecting not getting selected by shooters or like the Royal Knight City sections and other and while the trainers will be only getting selected for like the Royal Knight selection. For the online team was like the simple scenario that about the and that and the like that from about like about the method and the group against like after like all this like I'm doing creating a lot of like exchange of session within land to set up to bring that while land and the bring land spending time outside or along within that uh and staying off all this when they in that separate state and at that point I'm reflecting for that most likely Owens either Owens showing up towards like land or like elections separate going towards like so I one of the two people decided to find that game with speaking to my friends and that like Dr. Boss is definitely my best friend will secretly allied to that I have been from secondly one friend. So that game before like on definitely as person like definitely like on person in that online sector area like I'm so different on would be noticing all of this and then you language like basically focusing this like magic and everything that will definitely would be a person might be thinking of like definitely reflect the loss of like mana from like the third eye as like a member of the third eye like that person might be thinking that like that language would be like the perfect replacement for like mana as like any member of like the third eye might be the line like on person might be the feeling is the flame of range. So like that's like I'm either while land for the second and all of them like showing either phones showing up towards like bangers and rotating land towards like third eye or like glitch himself like showing up and rotating land to left to third eye and second with the concept of power strategy that I'm not recording that either phones or like this only using to get land to like join like the third eye is that the scenario and like I said, the expecting scenario is that it's right that like I think land is that basically the black land wants to get revenge and or for and defeat as land basically through on the end goes that language and that's okay to get down and select then language today the language would be creating that absolute power and language will be getting access to like language joins like the I combination like number like I will be along the lines of putting like either which for like one like getting language and then like that way like in that first form like that as with power like language ending up joining like the implementation of like it's like new member of the right. It's like the scenario that I'm showing putting him as friend. I'm so different like initially different finding out about that and everything. From that point on like FinralVsLangris like journey taking it of the different direction. The students like FinralVsLangris would be on that point on would be on the quest to like that to me to save this like sort of the landers from like the implementation is that the humans who is like us and team would be all would be along with like Savannah like second in five. It's like the scenario. It's a legal scenario that I'm looking against right now.